Okay, guys, so as per typical streaming, yeah, that we're having technical difficulties. So, Whittakee, if you're watching, trying to sort it out now, mate, so we can see if we can get you in. But I don't even know if you guys can hear me. So, can I get comments? Excuse me, if you can hear me, because I'm using two. I'm in StreamYard twice, basically. So one for video and audio, and one so I can control the control panel without touching the screen. So if anybody is there and can hear me, let me know. Okay, Matthew, thanks, mate. So is that nice? Is it clear? Does it sound like it's coming out of my microphone, or does it sound like it's coming out of the phone? Unfortunately, my earphones can't pick it up. So, and we're going to try and get Whittakee in here as well. So the audio shouldn't change if I. You should still be able to hear me clearly. So someone tell me, can you hear me just clearly now? If you Google Maps in front of the camera. Yeah, Whittakee, I'm trying to sort it out, mate. Basically, I usually use a laptop to control StreamYard. And, well, I say that I've never gone. This is my first time going live, so be gentle, guys. But, yeah, normally I go, I when I'm testing it, I use the laptop. But as it happens, it's logged me out, and it's my fiance's laptop, so I don't actually know the password for it. I can't remember it. So I'm using the tablet instead, and I'm quite new to that. So I'm listening on headphones, but I can hear you pretty well. Yeah, so Matthew, just let me know, because obviously my mic should be automatic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on talking, and I'm going to walk into the next room. If you guys can hear me the same, you guys can still hear me now. And that means that my microphone is working. So let me know if you guys can hear this. Sausages. But anyway, so we'll see. So I need to get Whittakee in here somehow, and let's just see how to do it. Let's have a look. Apologies if you're looking at like the shine coming off my head for a second, guys. I've got plenty of light in here. Natural. But I need to see if we can get Whittakee on the scene. There it is. Should be better. Right, okay. So invite. So he's already got the link. Let's have a look. When I'm backstage, it's saying no access to my camera and mic. Okay, so I think I have to accept you in first with the key, and then we adjust that afterwards. But we'll soon find out. So if you could jump back in. When you walk away, the audio dips down. Can hear you say sausage though. Right, okay. That was my test word. So look, I don't know if this is working. It should be working, because unfortunately these microphones they work fine when I'm just going hands free, but because I've got it plugged in, because also charging my phone through there, it's really complicated. But yeah. So let's see. Guests. Let me just see. So how's everybody doing anyway? While we're waiting, I don't want you guys just looking at nothing. So, what are we planning to do? I mean, if you, presuming you guys are from, well, yeah, it looks like you're all UK boys. So, what are we doing on this lovely summer's day? I really don't know how to get Whittakee into the into the chat. How do I get him in here? Because I've only ever used this when I'm on my own. So, pardon me. So I thought it was going to be quite easy because I could add myself easily enough when I logged in on a different device, but I'm not really sure. So, Whittakee, if you're listening, mate, if you can get like you were in the backstage, I think because you're using the same device to film off, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to watch this and. And let me just see if we can do it on here instead. I just chilling, but sorting out Lego colours from the 5 tubs of loose brick. Right, yeah, you did say earlier. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember because obviously some people have got multiple different names. So Matthew, you are Slurpee, correct? Am I right in saying that, Slurpee? Yeah. Sorry, I just stick to the same name for me, and so it's difficult. Pure mess. I'll look in like 2 tubs will slowly be grey and black from the decades of Star Wars sets. Yeah, that is usually the way it goes. And if you've got some sets that are old enough, it'll be the actual dark grey and light grey as opposed to dark bluish grey and light bluish grey, which we use currently. So that can be a bit of a ball breaker. Yeah, Slurpee. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, sorry, it's just trying to keep out because there's quite a few guys in here that in the UK boys chat and across YouTube have slightly different handles and names. So obviously today's agenda is kind of, well, there isn't an agenda as such. There's a couple of things I wanted to chat about, but for some reason when I was trying to post on Instagram and on YouTube, the details it kept disappearing. And at one point it posted into Instagram upside down. I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but just goes to show when you're trying to do things on the fly, which, you know, this is, it don't always work that well. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, change it to Slurpee. I mean, it depends on where you've currently got the most recognition, I guess. With me, I've used the same handle for everything. So across my Google accounts, Instagram, YouTube. So it makes it a little bit easier, I guess, to identify me. But then, of course, I'm in this kind of realm of live streaming, so it is required. But you know, if you're just observing, then I suppose it really makes a difference. So, how can we get? Let's have a look. Let's try and have an issues. I mean, so Whittakee, from what I can see, I can't do anything here, but I can see you're lined up as a guest, which means essentially you're in my hello. Essentially means you're in. See, so there's 2 of me now. Hoping that's not going to create too much of an echo. So it lets me add myself. So I've just tried it on myself, and that worked fine. But when I click on you, it's not giving me an option to add you in. So the best thing you could probably do, Whittakee, if you're watching or listening, is leave the leave the chat, leave the StreamYard, and then come back in, try again, and I'll see if there's any different. I've just left on one of my devices and popped back in, and it brought me in fine. It automatically brought me up onto the screen. So I'm not 100% sure what the issue is. Or even how I can fix it, because I can't use my phone to sort of Google it and find out what we're doing wrong, because I'm using it to film me. So let's just see if I can try the StreamYard help. Guest. Add guest to studio. Wow, so this is very kind of done on the fly here. So it's showing you as a guest on here, so I'll try there. Ah, right, okay. Now it's giving me the option to add you to the stage, Martin, which I've done. So you... Right, what I'm going to do, Martin, is I'm going to kick you from the studio. So that gets rid of you, and then you got to rejoin. So how do I connect it? So try that. The unfortunate thing is that the only communication I've got with Whittakee is through my phone, and I can't use it while I'm using it to stream. So let's see if I can use this temporarily. So it says there's two people watching. So one of them is... Right then. Let's try again. It's definitely showing you there. It's showing you that you're in the studio. Yeah, showing you. It actually shows you as a participant, but with no video. So I'm not really sure what to do. So let me just try inviting you again. This is going to be a very be doing it on my own, because initially I was going to do it on my own, and I had a lot of stuff planned to say, and I was going to come up with some things to discuss. But since I had somebody to bounce off, I didn't bother. So yeah, this is going to be very seat of the pants. So, and a great first lesson, I suppose, because it's all well and good trying to use StreamYard when you're just kind of doing it yourself. But until you physically go live, you can't really test it. Not that I can see anyway. I mean, I tried different ways of testing it, but the only way to test it is to actually go live, which I didn't want to do because it kind of seemed pointless, especially with no other guests. So I wouldn't have been able to learn any of this anyway. So Oh, your browser won't allow access to camera and mic. Okay, so that is going to be a slightly different situation. So if your browser won't allow access to a camera and mic, then that's in your settings on your phone. That won't be anything. That'll make sense because that shows why you're in StreamYard and you're on. According to this, I haven't even had to add you. You're actually already on this. So if you had visual and no audio, for example, you'd be on the screen right now. So so you're actually already in. So you need to basically go into your settings in your phone and allow whatever. I'm guessing if you're using Google or whatever internet browser you're using, go into that and allow access to camera and microphone, and that should sort it out. Somewhere along the line, you've probably switched that off, maybe for maybe because some websites you use to get the option to switch it off just for sort of security. So bear that in mind. So try that, Martin. Give that a try. Unfortunately, it's hard for me to communicate with you outside of this because I've only got my phone as a, the device I'm using is a tablet, and I don't have access to Instagram. I don't think, but I will check now. No, I've got it on my laptop, but I can't get the freaking laptop to work. So this is perfect, this isn't it? Mm-hmm. So we knew there was going to be teething errors, and obviously anybody who's still watching, I apologize. Or anybody watching this back, I apologize, but we knew there was going to be. This is why I didn't really want to kind of big it up and set it up for a couple of days in advance and advertise it like for hours in advance, because I knew there was a chance that they'd be looking at just me or just Martin or just none of us if things went a bit pear-shaped. So yeah, that's why anybody who saw this, apart from the UK boys, would have only seen it like half an hour ago. So yeah, so we're looking at some technical difficulties, hoping to try and sort them out. And if Whittakee can get the access to his phone up and running, we'll be laughing. In the meantime, I need to try and see if I can get on. Yeah, I don't have anything on this tablet at all. It's pretty pointless. It's not even, I don't even have Facebook on here, so I can't do a lot. Right, I think I've got Instagram up and running. So look now, guests. Okay, so I got Instagram up on here, so I can communicate. Try adjusting settings. I'm keen to get it to work because we could just say, like, you know what, we'll just do chat between us and we'll sort of work out that way. Don't worry about the tech issues, can definitely be fiddling to get down. Yeah, like obviously I've managed to work out my end, and I'm here ready and free to chat. And if I just have to chat with the chat, then we can make do. But I wasn't particularly going to be on here particularly long anyway, an hour tops. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to kind of write Whittakee off, because we're only going to have the same issue next time. And I know he was keen to get on, so it'd be interesting if we can try. I'd rather sort it out while we're live than wait till next time and have the same issue. So yeah, unfortunately, Martin is my kind of guinea pig really for this thing I want to try and do quite regularly. So kind of Q&A type thing. So nimble saucepan, mate. I'm having a bit of a nightmare. My missus' car's broken down, so I've got to go sort that out for her. Won't make it to the stream release, so I was looking forward to it. Hey, look, don't worry, Nimble. If you get it sorted out, we did start a little bit later than I originally planned, so you might find yourself jumping on the back end. Can you this as a test stream too? Or not? Yeah, exactly. That was always kind of the point of it, if I'm honest, mate, is to like I said, I had the option to go live prior to this, but it's kind of I'd sorted all of this out before, so there wasn't so much an issue with that. Not that I couldn't fix myself, but joining somebody else live was the issue. It was going to be the issue. So, and I've never actually been in control of the stream yet on a live. When I've gone on with Padawan a couple of times, he's been in charge of it. Trevor's videos. How we doing, mate? Sorry, you're potentially looking at just me talking to myself. We're currently having some technical issues with my guest, but I'm hoping to get him on soon. But hope you're well as well, mate. I'm so sorry to let you down. Please just continue without me. Right? Look, jump back in. I'll let him know to jump back into the chat. If anybody jump Macintosh the chat. Jesus, spell autocorrect on this is terrible. Jump back into the chat. Why the hell that's turned into Macintosh? I'll never know. Yeah, look, obviously we can sort it out. If anybody out there knows who's currently watching how to allow a device access, how to let a device access to video and camera whilst on their, what do you call it? Like Explorer or Google or whatever it is they're looking at the internet on, and let me know, because that's what we're stuck with. I could try it. What kind of phone have you got? Predictive text is a nightmare. Yeah, it's my girlfriend's tablet, so I don't know when I've ever written the word Macintosh, but yeah. But this would be a lot easier if I had access to my tablet instead, because I think the controls are better. So currently, don't know if the mic is picking up my audio or whether just the phone is. I currently don't know if how does that sound, guys? Does that sound any different? Does the audio sound clearer or better or worse? I think I did. I think I had it on upside down. Didn't realize there was two ways you could do it. You could ask him to try on his phone. I've joined lives that way. Yeah, look, he's on his phone. Essentially, his issue is this: his browser. That's the word I was looking for. His browser won't allow him access to video or audio. So although he's joined StreamYard without any problems, because there's no video or audio, he's just a blank screen on my end anyway. So I don't have any access. The only options he gives me is to change his name or to kick him out. Sound sense should tell you what is picking up your sound. Yeah, the problem is that I'm using my phone for the video, so I don't want to be trying to scroll through. But like these microphones, I use them all the time. But I just need to test. So while you're there, Trevor, I'm just going to do another little test. I did this earlier, but I'm not sure whether it really worked. So these microphones essentially should work exactly the same, no matter how far away I am from the phone. So, Trevor, I'm going to say the word sausage, and if you can hear it, then type it up on the screen. Did you get that? He may need to go into his settings to give permission to. Yes, sausage, right? Okay, so I whispered that practically in the next room, so my phone wouldn't have picked that up, so that we know now it's working. I think I just had the connector upside down. You may need to go into his settings to give permission to use camera mic. Yeah, I did actually mention that to him. That was my first thought, because I thought there was an issue with him joining StreamYard, but it was showing he was here. Clearly that wasn't the issue, because then he said the same thing. So somewhere on his phone. But yeah, audio is brilliant. Okay, so that's obviously a little bit better. So it's not trying to pick it up on my phone. So look, obviously, Whittakee, if and when you jump back on, mate, into the chat, because I can see you're not quite here yet, but jump back into the chat and let us know what phone you've got, and hopefully we can work this out between us all. Even if you have to kind of, yeah, if you had the same phone as me, perhaps, or even the same, like I got a Samsung, so if you've got an Android device, we might be able to walk you through it between the three of us. But we'll see. So in the meantime, guys, look, if you don't know this about me already, I'm a proud Welsh A-Fault Star Wars fan, and obviously my hobby is Lego. So yes, I'm a Star Wars Lego fan, but I'm a Lego fan before I'm a Star Wars Lego fan, purely because I've been into Lego much longer than Star Wars has been around, if that makes sense. And up until the point of the 20th anniversary, I'd known Lego without Star Wars longer than I'd known Lego with Star Wars. That makes sense. So we're busting open a couple of lovely ciders. Lovely day. I've got my French doors open just to my left, looking out into my garden. Possibly my neighbours can hear me talking to myself. It was a lovely summer's day. Summer's finally kicked in, and it was the day I chose to sit indoors and talk to a phone. But great. So yeah, if you guys got drinks as well, bust them open now. I'm also eating some room temperature grapes, for anyone who gets the reference. Oh, stop motion videos. Okay. Okay, so we got a guy who does stop motion as well within our UK boys group, but I'm trying to remember. Actually, that's you, isn't it, Slurpee? I'm trying to remember who the stop motion guy is. We got somebody who's into stop motion. Pretty sure that was you as well. Again, because your pictures on here is different, it gets confusing. But we've got a guy who we're quite friendly with via Instagram, and he does stop motion YouTubes as well. So currently trying to work on something for us to do a video, but that's all to be announced. Yeah, that is you, right? Okay, I thought so. Obviously, from my end, it's just a list of names and handles. But yeah, you and Trevor got something in common there, by the looks of it. So yeah, Matthew, aka Slurpee, and Martin, who's supposed to be the other guest on, is aka Whittakee. So that'll be why. So I see now, right? So the settings of this microphone are such that I can either charge it or I could use the audio. I can do both. So this is actually charging the device now as opposed to charging my phone. So that's a pain. So I don't actually need to charge this device. It has to be plugged into my phone, and it plugs in the same socket as my. So hopefully my battery will last, but we'll see. Yeah, different personalities, different. Sorry, a whole lot of different personalities. Hopefully it's the same person, but each to their own, I guess. But yeah, so yeah, obviously, my history with Lego goes back to when I was very young. And although my parents weren't exactly flush, they always bought us Lego sets because obviously it was, even then it was quite expensive compared to most other hobbies at the time. But and certainly other sort of toy brands. But it was still, even then it was regarded as the best. So, and obviously I've kind of kept that, kept up with that. If you like, I went through a dark age, not with Star Wars. I had no Star Wars dark age at all. From the moment I worked out where I was to right now. But Lego, yeah, just because I was busy with other things, and I think when Lego Star Wars launched, I was an adult, but not I think I was, but at that point I was kind of had more important interests and more important things to do with my money than buy anything. I drank most of my wages at that point, so yeah, I got a daughter as well, Trevor. She's a huge Lego fan. Not as into it as probably I was at her age, and certainly not as into it as I am now. Although we do encourage her, but she's into quite a variety of different things, and therefore kind of understandable at her age. I think when I was probably about her age, I'd started to use it and play with it a lot less as well. So she's 11. So how old are your boys, Trevor? Are they into Star Wars Lego as well? Is the question, because there's so many different licenses and different types of Lego out there at the moment. It's difficult to get them into one. I mean, my daughter was particularly into what do you call it, Super Mario when it first launched, but she's kind of easing off that a little bit now. But she'll build a Star Wars set from time to time. Actually, don't really need these headphones in anymore. Just realised I only needed them if there was going to be some audio to stop any if I was going to be listening to anybody else. Which I'm not. So Whittakee, 12 and 14. Oh no, they're all great ages. So my daughter's pushing 12 now, so roughly the same age as your youngest then. Whittakee, are you back, mate? Are you in the chat? Can receive from here. Hopefully so. It is a bit disappointing, I know, when things don't go quite right. I had a similar situation myself. The second, when I co-hosted with the UK boys of Padawan, I was having issues with my microphone. They kind of cheesed me off a little bit, but hopefully you are still with us, mate. One who into Star Wars and Marvel, and one that loves Minecraft. And what got me back into Lego was building the architecture sets. Oh, good. Architecture sets, yeah. My fiance's got at least one of those. See if I can get back on stream now. UK boys takeover stream was, yeah. I'm glad you liked it, mate. Sorry, just removing the other me. My phone is doing this weird timeout thing where it goes dark after a while, which because it's not effectively not being used, or it thinks it's not being used, which is kind of weird. I don't know why that is either. Yeah, the takeover stream was really good. I mean, that was actually kind of a very last minute as well. We did have a few hours, I guess, probably a few more hours than I had today, but that was a little bit more about just seeing. I was on my way home and I'd seen that the ACOP guys were not going to be able to do anything, and which is quite strange because normally they either announce they're not going to be available a lot sooner, or they've got somebody else lined up to kind of co-host or whatever. Because I think that both of them weren't available. They just kind of said, "Look, we're not going to be doing a live stream." And I was just like, "Well, I'm free and available," and I was planning to actually stay up and watch it because I had the next day off. And I just thought, well, what better opportunity for us to have a go? And initially, the idea was for us to do just a UK boys stream, essentially, or me and the UK boys. So I got in touch with Padawan and hoped that maybe those two, him and Josh, could do with me. So the UK boys plus Cool and Luke do a stream, and then invite, if they let us, invite the Girth gang to come and join us instead. When I reached out to Sean with the idea, he was just like, "Yeah, go for it." And I thought, well, does that mean is it okay? Is it okay for us to just do, a chat, just do it like, and link it to ACOB, or do we have to do our own thing? And he was fine with it. So yeah, so we effectively hijacked their audience, their time slot, and everything. So well, not quite their time slots. I think we went a bit earlier, but so yeah, that worked out quite well, and obviously it helped improve our profiles a little bit. So that was good. But yeah, I really did enjoy that live stream. That was really good. Don't forget to smash the like button now, guys. I can't see it from here because normally I would have this filming me, and then on my laptop I would have the StreamYard control StreamYard open in one window and YouTube open in another window, so that I can see how the progress is going on. Because I'm using a tablet instead, I can't seem to get it to open both. So I can't actually see, but I like to think there's like 2 or 3 likes in there at least. But yeah, if you guys aren't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like I think you are, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have seen it at all. So just built Chewbacca. Right, let's see. I'm gonna have a test now, Trevor, if you don't mind, putting your comment on the screen because I've not done that yet. There you go. So, Trevor, just built Chewbacca set. I don't know why it's got negativity against it. Really enjoyed the build. Now building R2D2 ready to have the trio for when they release C3PO. Yeah, I kind of get what you mean. I can understand why people don't like it. I can never really understand hate for something. There's only one thing at the moment I'm a little bit frustrated about, which we may go into later, but probably if anyone's interested. But yeah, I don't understand why any Lego set gets hated. If you don't like it, just don't buy it. I mean, nobody thought. I mean, people come in my shop all the time and they say, you hear them talking about products, and they say, well, this isn't any good. This is no good. I can get this somewhere else. I'm just like, why do you need to tell me that? I don't need to know that. I mean, one option every customer has got is not to buy it. So that should really be enough. I mean, if you haven't bought it, the assumption is you either don't like it or don't need it or don't want it. So yeah, I don't know why any Lego set gets hated, if I'm completely honest, unless there's kind of some underlying story like there is with me. But yeah, I think it looks good. I think with the 3 of them together, it'd be great, especially if we can end up getting like a full set of these characters. But I don't see them ever doing human characters. And I've seen a couple of pictures of it up close, and it does look a lot better than Chewbacca. So yeah, but certainly not something I would buy. It's just far too expensive for something that I'm not a huge fan of. And I don't mean the Chewbacca build itself. I'm talking more about that style of Lego set. these kind of character type sets. I never collected any of the buildable characters and anything like that. I'm not a big fan of the helmet sets, should I say. I don't even really collect UCS. I've never bought a UCS set and never seen one that's really interested in me. And for the price, which is the driving factor, if I'm honest, I could get a lot of smaller sets I prefer. So yeah, but yeah, look, if you can have the three of them together, it's going to be great. I mean, I've got the R2D2. Well, I say I bought my fiance the R2D2 because she's a huge R2 and C3PO fan. And now the C3PO is coming out as well. She'll be able to add that to a display, which is great. So it'll be in the building, but yeah, not for me, unfortunately. I don't stand the heat of tubes, but I think they should have released the C3PO or R2D2 first. Yeah, that's a good point, actually, Slurpee. If they'd done those first, I think they might have got a few more people interested. I think the fact that people saw Chewbacca first and for whatever reason weren't as big fans of it, certainly if they feel like I feel, we're just not ready for that, then yeah, they could have maybe sent people in the other direction. I don't know. Do I run my own shop business? No, I don't. I work for a national retailer and they sell like toys and things like that. I don't really sort of discuss that kind of stuff here, not because I don't want anybody knowing anything, but I want to try and keep that kind of personal away from my sort of YouTube, especially because it doesn't really have any effect. I mean, we do sell Lego products, we don't sell Lego sets, at least not at the moment. So, but yeah, I'm a store manager. Currently got a team. There's a team of 10 of us, but I've had smaller teams. I've had larger teams since I've been in retail. I think at the height of my career. I mean, the amount of people you're managing, it's got nothing to do with how high you are in your career. I can guarantee you that. But I think at the very most, I worked in a store which had about 45 to 60 staff. But yeah, in person does look a lot better. I think I just get fed up of just constant brown pieces. That's kind of one of the things that probably would turn me off. And eBay sell it for 95. Great, that's a good price. So was that used or still in box, still in bags? I don't go for used yet sets myself. I'm like, you look at the sets you could get for the money. Yeah, absolutely. And the two driving factors for me, because some people, I say used yet, you can't afford them. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're right, I can't. But it's not that I haven't got that kind of money to spend on Lego because I've done that. Probably more so. If I was to buy a UCS twice a year, that would probably be a fraction of the amount I spend on Lego throughout the year. If I only bought two UCS sets, it would be cheaper, put it that way. But and that's fair enough. People like to do that. I think my other driving factor though is space. There's not a lot of space at the moment, and currently don't have my Lego setup anywhere. If you look in the background here, you can see that I've got the Ghost. I've got Republic gunship still in boxes. Bought them on sale, but I've never had a chance to. Build them because I don't really have a Lego space at the moment. We're currently working on it. Bought a new house within the last couple of months and trying to get a Lego room set up and some display set up. But if I was to display all of my sets, I would need shelves in every room in the house because I've got so many. So yeah, for me, I'm always going to have probably a smaller display, one shelf or one rack of shelves, and then I'll just rotate them out because the other thing I don't like is I'm gathering dust. So to have all of my sets on display, or even 50% of my sets on display at any given time, is impossible anyway. So for me, it's more about the build, mock building, the collecting. I'm more interested in that side of things than I am, letting other people see it, because nobody would ever come and see it anyway. We don't have a lot of guests where we live. I'm not big really into sort of showing off my collection as such. I mean, I don't mind using Instagram and things like that to show off what I have got as kind of background. But if I'm going to show something off, it's usually like the mocks I've built or other sets people have built, and just kind of showcase the community rather than have my background as all my Lego sets. Because even if I do get that room set up, the chances are I probably won't necessarily have that as my background. But yeah. Yeah, I think the other sets you can get for your money. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. Not. You haven't pried at all. Don't worry about that. I don't really go into too much detail just because it's pretty boring when you work in retail, and I've worked in retail for my whole working life, for 27 years, and it's not really that interesting. But no, we don't sell. We're not a Lego retailer. I do sell Lego products, so coloring books, activity books, and a couple of the books that have got bits of Lego in, that kind of thing, but not actual Lego sets. So I mean, the place I work, most of them are probably end up getting pinched anyway. New boxed and bag sealed. Just had to get it. Oh wow! So that was so when you say new, pre-owned though, as in like you haven't bought it from a third party seller, as in like or is it somebody's bought it as a present or had it as a present? Not that it really matters, but just out of curiosity. And they've sort of sold it on to you. Slurpee only had the UCS slant speed. I know it's quite mean to the community, but I think it's a heater set and really well shaped. Plus, yeah, it not being 99.999% grey helps. It does, yeah, absolutely. Look, there are a handful of UCS sets that if I could ever get my hands on, if I bought probably, or if I had that kind of disposable income, or I was just buying UCS set, let's say, then I would probably have the 8080 Walker and maybe the Naboo Starfighter that came out with the chrome pieces on it. That's probably about it. I can't think of any others that I'm particularly, I like the I like the look of the UCS Falcon, but it's just too big and overpowering, and it's kind of the whole of the inside would be a waste because it'd just be on display. So, but yeah, I like the land speeder as well. There aren't any sets I don't think that I've ever seen that I thought, ooh, I don't like that. But there are sets that I do say, not going to buy that. I know the issues are with space, so I've changed things around in my lounge to try and make more room for bookshelves. And trust me, these aren't for books. Yeah, well, I actually got quite a large Star Wars book collection as well. I mean, I've been collecting that probably as long as I've been collecting Star Wars Lego, and yeah, that could fill quite a large bookcase as well, and that's never been on display. Hardly any of them. Probably about 20% of them have been on display in my previous house, along with my partner's books. And yeah, I kept buying them and collecting them because I was reading them at quite a pace at the time, and then kind of stopped. So you get back into reading Star Wars books, graphic novels. Yeah, the UCS set had the exclusive C3PO figure until the actual C3PO came out. Did they not put that C3PO in the Trash Compactor diorama as well? I thought I remember reading that. I mean, I've got that one because I've got a Trash Compactor diorama and it's built. But I didn't think to look to see if that figure was the same. I thought I remember seeing it was, but maybe I'm wrong. So, also someone bought it to raise money for a charity event. They were selling other bits off. It was a very good price. Oh, there you go. So yeah, they're marvelous. Do you enjoy the Mandalorian sets? I do. I like Mandalorians. I've been a fan of Mandalorians as long as I've been a fan of Star Wars. And it's a T-shirt, and obviously, if you guys can't see, there's also a reference there to Cool Hand Luke, and obviously it's got my name on the bottom here as well. Oh, it's gone. Yeah, huge Mandalorian fan. I do like clones as well. If I had to choose between Mandalorians and clones, I don't know whether I'd be able to choose. Certainly not now. The C3PO figure is pretty nice. Trash Compactor C3PO's leg is printed. Yeah, I know that much. I just wonder whether it's the same. Because I know even within the various versions of C3PO, there seems to be the newer versions of C3PO figure. Sorry, there seems to be variants. So I don't actually know. But I'm not I've got to have all the figures kind of guy anyway. In a lot of cases, I've displayed my sets. The figures haven't even been with them. Because I do like ships. I'm a big ships guy over buildings. I like the sets over the figures. I like play sets over UCS. I do like the 18 plus the diorama sets as well. Yeah, quite good, and I've got most of them. I'd like to have them all because they make much better display sets, and they make more sense with my aesthetic, if you like. But at the same time, I actually like building the ships. So dioramas, building and displaying. Ships, I just like the building of them, and then I like to kind of adjust them. So my plan was today to try and throw up a couple of pictures of some of the mocks that I've built, just so you're not looking at my face constantly. Because I'm using the tablet now instead of my phone, it's going to be tablet instead of the laptop. It's going to be difficult to do. So I'm not 100%, and I haven't had a good practice at bringing in other photos. So we'll see. I can send you a photo of the trash comparator C3PO versus C3PO energy. All right, so there is a difference. Is that what you're saying, Slurpee? I wasn't sure. That was the main question. It was just, are they different? If they're different, then great. I was just our curiosity, but it doesn't make a difference to me, to be honest with you, because I'm not a fig collector myself anymore. I like them, don't get me wrong, but I find there has been a deeper interest for some fans in regards to the minifigures versus the sets. Yeah, not quite sure what you're trying to say there, but I find there has been a deeper interest for some fans in regards. Yeah, I see what you mean, right? So if I think what you're trying to say there is that for some people out there, the collection they collect, almost to the point where they buy a set, take the figures out, and they're not interested in the set. And I've seen that where people haven't even built the set, and I just think, I mean, yeah, if you plan to sell it on, I mean, you got to open the bags anyway. How much is it going to affect it if you've built it or not? Even if you're going to build it, take it apart, and then sell off the set or use it as parts, build it first. I don't know. But again, I'm not going to knock other people's sort of sub collection if that's what they want to do with their toys. Effectively, then that's totally up to them. I've got no, everybody's slightly different, and that's one of the things I probably would want to cover in future episodes of this show. Is how would you describe your subcategory? So are you a mock builder? Do you prefer UCS? That kind of thing. For me, the chase of trying to find an older set was dominated the collecting for me at one point, because I was trying to amass quite a lot of the older sets, and I was selling off some of my old Star Wars collection non-Lego that I collected throughout the 90s, selling that off and using that to fund hunting for other sets. And this was before COVID, so once COVID hit, there was a bit of a boom there. And ever since then, I think people have realized the value of what they've got, even if they don't really know what they've got. And it's made it harder to try and find sets. So, for example, the Jack 14 Starfighter I've wanted, and I've seen it as little as £50, used, but complete with figures. And I thought at the time that seemed quite high, because I've got other sets that were just as rare at the time for sort of 20, 30, 40. I left it, and now you can't see it at all, even secondhand, even with figures missing, you're looking, over 100. So it's just one of those situations where I think, people have realized the value of Lego. It's made it a bit difficult to get a hold of. So it is a sad situation, but for those sort of 4 or 5 years, my main focus when I had that sort of funding coming back in was to put it back into the hobby and put it back into Lego and get some of the older sets that I'd missed out on during my dark age. And I think I'd probably say I got about 75% of the sets that I'd ever want that I'd missed. And I think I've probably got about 90% of the current sets that are available that I want. The rest of them I'm waiting for them to go cheaper. So at the moment, even if I had the money just sitting in my bank account, millions, I don't know whether it'd be a lot that I'd be looking for. I'm not one of these people who needs to have every set. I'd certainly not that interested. Even if I had the space to display it, I probably wouldn't, because it's just not my thing. But certainly the enjoyment of building is my main focus, because that's obviously what I grew up on. To the point where when I was a kid, I used to build the sets, and I don't even remember playing with them as much as I like building them and rebuilding and building something else and building the alternates that used to be on some of the older sets, that kind of thing. So Whittakee, you back, mate? I don't know whether you actually left or not, but I couldn't really see whether you were in there or not for a while. I also enjoy botanical sets. I've swapped out all the real plants for Lego ones. None of them have died. And a major plus, they don't need watering. Yeah, like, we got a couple of plants around the house, but the majority of them aren't real anyway. So I have mentioned it to my partner that we may as well get some more botanicals. She's got a few, I think. I'm not sure which ones. She's got maybe 3 or 4. No, she got the bonsai tree, which is fantastic. She can alternate that to be like a cherry blossom as opposed to green leaf. And she got the daffodils and maybe one other I can't really remember. Sunflowers, yeah, sunflowers, daffodils, so flowers really more than botanicals, I guess. But yeah, it's a good idea. I think the only thing for me was dusting, because when she had the daffodils out, they were out in the kitchen in our last house, and I just remember seeing them and thinking they could do with a good dust, and in the kitchen as well. You know, they get a light layer of grease on them as well. So yeah, but you're right. I think nothing beats a good plant in a house, but you know, I've seen some really good setups where people have got the botanicals out on display, and you can't even tell the difference at a glance, especially like the little cactus and things. Favorite minifigures for me, the classic Spaceman, red and white. Yeah, I think I remember Space launching, and I was kind of into it when it first launched, and I remember it changing then, so the helmets were kind of more like biker helmets. So I was around for that time, very young. But if I remember when I was kind of first getting into Lego, City was really the thing that dominated. There weren't any other kind of side factions, apart from maybe there was like Medieval and Robin Hood type thing. And I remember then Pirate coming out, and I remember one of the first sets I bought for myself was Pirate. Well, the first set I ever bought for myself was like a little payphone box with a bicycle and a little figure, and I bought that on my own pocket money, and I must have been about 5, maybe 6. And then Pirates came out, I think, shortly after. So you had the monkey and the shark and the palm trees and the gold coins. And then I remember, so whether space was going that whole time, I don't know. Without looking at the history of some of these sets, I don't know. But I do remember having some space sets when I was kind of closer to teenager. And then I think that's probably where it finished. So I think the last set I probably bought for myself or had bought for me as a child was probably space sets, if I remember rightly. And then obviously nothing until Star Wars came out. Whittakee, yeah, tried everything, not working, very stressed now, so I'll just watch. Yeah, sorry about that, mate. Like, I know exactly how you feel. It can get very stressful. I think the first time that I was supposed to do that live stream with Padawan, he'd asked me to get on about 20 minutes early so we can test the audio. And I couldn't get it to work, couldn't get anything to work. And I was thinking, I've set all this up, I've kind of got the nod off Sean, and we've got everything up and running. And obviously he was in charge of it even, so I didn't have to do as much. I was kind of doing what you were doing with Key and just kind of being the co-host. And I couldn't get anything to work. Thankfully, my partner was in the house at the time, and she managed to wangle it, and we got everything up and running and working, and it kind of obviously worked out fine. But yeah, you do get a bit stressed and frustrated, I think is probably a better word, when things don't work. But it's not the end of the road for us, mate. We can have another go at it one time. I've got a week off at the moment, although I've got plans for most of those days. There's no reason why we can't do something in a week or so and try again. So we'll see. I mean, look, obviously, the other thing is that depending on how it works for you and that, you know, if people enjoy it and the feedback, I'm more than happy to have a regular co-host to do this sort of chat thing. I've already lined up a couple of people who are happy to be a guest, as in the guest who we're asking the questions to. So of course, that would always help anyway. But so I've got Oaktown Bricks. Who else? One Clever Pig, and maybe 2 or 3 others who I've spoken to either on Instagram or YouTube, and they've said yeah, they're up for it. So again, what I need to, this is, you know, for me to iron out the details. So at the moment, I still don't know how to add another person because I don't have that option. But yeah, so if there's anybody out there watching or picking up on this who'd like to have at least try to come into the video, so any of you other guys, Slurpee or Trevor, if you fancy joining the StreamYard, you don't have to have a camera on, but just to sort of see that I can add somebody, that would be really helpful. But obviously, I don't put anybody under any unnecessary pressure. So just do what you can. But yeah, there's a way before you come on to the stream, before you go live, there's a button that says go live. There's an option there to switch off camera and switch off mic, so you can actually join. And it'd just be a black screen, which is as far as Martin got really. So let me just close my door here a second, guys, because I'm so glad I didn't hang out washing before the stream. It's starting to peck here. It's starting to rain a little bit. Oh, somehow still brighter though. I'm gonna put these on a sec, guys, because I've been looking at the screen a bit too long. Okay, so yeah, don't stress technology. Sorry for no need for violins. We're quite upset. That's it. It's gone tits up. And yeah, mate, trust me, it is what it is. We'll sort something out. Now, when I use right, okay, sorry. So this is something we've touched on earlier, Slurpee. So sorry for my word in minifig versus set statements. Not confusing. But it was confusing. I remember when UCS sets for years had no minifigures. Yeah, and it was an adult-centric thing. Yeah, now it's we'll put that comment up. So that's quite a good talking point, actually. So now when a UCS set is revealed, the focus, for some, not all, is upon the minifigures. Yeah, so what do we think about this, guys? I know there's only a handful of us here, but what do we think? Like, even if you don't buy a UCS set or have never bought a UCS set like myself, I think the largest set I've got is an MBS set, which was bought for me for my 40th birthday. So not something I probably ever would have bought myself, not because there's anything wrong with it and I didn't want it, but because I would never have justified spending that amount of money. But as it happened, the UK was in a fire break at the time, so the money we had sort of put aside and planned to go do something for my 40th birthday kind of fell through. We weren't able to do it, and then that money was kind of spare. So my partner, my fiance, shout out to Kirsty, treated me to that set. And do you know what I will say, going off the topic that I just started, I'm one of these guys who's into building sets like they used to be, where it's all one bag, all the pieces are mixed. And I kind of, whenever I build sets, I always empty the bags out. A lot of the sets I bought were used anyway, so you didn't have the choice. But even when I was buying new sets, I'd empty all the bags out into one and I'd build from there. And I want to try and find, it's on my phone somewhere, or it exists somewhere out there, the video of me opening every bag of the MBS Mos Eisley's Cantina and dumping all those into this big cardboard tray thing I had. We had our new washing machine at the time. Was it a washing machine or an oven? Washing machine or an oven. It came in one of these huge sort of boxes, and at the bottom had a kind of tray you kind of pull off so you can unpack it. So there's this huge, you imagine the dimensions of a dishwasher or washing machine, or whatever it was, or oven, big square thing. And I had this big cardboard tray like that, and I dumped out all, I think I remember counting 78. Was it 78 or was it 42? There was let's just say it was 42 for argument's sake. 42 bags, including the smaller bags, inside bags of pieces, and it was literally like, the tray was deep with Lego, and I built that set, and it took me about 4 months to build. And the only reason I was able to actually build this because we went into another lockdown. That was Christmas 2020. Yeah, Christmas 2020. We went back into a lockdown, and I built it over those couple of months we were off. And yeah, it was painful for my partner because she just had to constantly hear the dragging through the tray of pieces. And at one point, I was missing a 2x2 sand brick. Couldn't find it anywhere, and obviously I had some in my spares, but I didn't want to give up on the fact that that piece was missing. So I went back through all these bags that were inside the box, the Mos Eisley's Cantina set, and I found it in there. It's just still inside one of the bags for whatever reason. So, but yeah, so I'll have to find that video and kind of post it up. It's quite interesting to watch me do it. She did a time lapse video, so it just shows me dumping all these bags in, so that was quite interesting. So I need to catch up with the chat now. So yeah, UCS guys, well, let's just include master builders into that, because some of them are classed as UCS and are kind of on the border. But between UCS, Trevor, thanks, mate. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate having the extra body in here, the extra pair of eyes. I'm not sure whereabouts you're from, but obviously follow me over on Instagram if you don't already. Cool Handle Bricks. Thanks, mate. But yeah, we'll include my After Builder series into it because they kind of come under a similar category. But what do you guys think? Do you feel like it's all about the figures? Do you feel like, because like the last couple of sets that have come out, the figures have either been exclusive or there's been a huge array of figures. If you were to buy a UCS set, would you be buying it for the figures or would you be buying it for the set? Because for me, I think, I gotta be honest, even though I'm not a UCS guy, I'd probably be doing it for both. I'm most likely Cantina had some exclusive figures in it, which is actually stayed exclusive to this day. So, but yeah, interesting. Yeah, so a couple of things I need to learn while you guys are while we're talking about that is I need to learn how to get there's a way of getting some kind of background music. There's a way of getting a background for when I go into, so I can go into a view that is like, it won't let me do it at the moment because I'm the only person here. Okay. So there's a way of getting there to be like something in the background here instead of just black. I'm not sure how to do that. And also where we can get, apart from comments, we can get like titles, subtitles. Pretty sure there's a way of doing that as well. But oh, there we go, banners. So get rid of me for a second. Let's get rid of the other me. And let's add in a banner. Ah, this is an example of a banner. Right, okay, so how do I, so let's try this out. UCS. Bear with me a sec, guys. UCS, all about. So I think I can create these prior as well and have them in like saved. So really, that's something I probably should have done. So there we go. So now it says, or I should say, UCS, all about the figs. So is it all about the figs? That's just an example of me trying to use a banner, guys. So, and because it just seemed like an interesting topic. But yeah, I can add banners. So I can. That's something by the looks of it I could have done in advance. And I can change the color and the style of them as well, which is fantastic. So that was just an extra bit of learning for me. So thanks for that, for bearing with me, guys, while I learned that. And let's go back to comments. Okay, so should be the set first. I think the MBS sets are a perfect blend of design and figs. They are essentially giant play sets. I do want the Cantina before it retires, but I really want a sweet deal on it. I don't think the deal is going to get any sweeter than it currently is because I think I've seen out there that it's in a few sales. Don't ask me what they are. I'm not going to quote because I don't know. But I've seen a couple of people mention that the UCS sets the MBS Master Builders Cantina is currently at probably one of the best prices it's been. So, but you tell me, guys. I was quite lucky, and obviously I had it bought for me. But can I screw that up a bit? There you go. That's a bit better. But yeah, is it all about the figs? No, I think you're dead right there, Slurpee. I think the MBS should be about having a big, juicy play set, which usually the MBS sets are like scenery and buildings as opposed to ships. So it's good that they've kind of separated them. And you're right, it should be about figures for that, because under usual environments, it would be more about more figures and a large play set and a location as opposed to a ship. Although some of these ships can probably fit more characters on them than some of the planets from what we've seen. But I think you guys get the picture. It is a little bit like, well, the MBS should really be the opportunity to have a large, big display set like Rivendell and like Barad-dûr, for example, if those were come under the same umbrella as Star Wars. Where you can have a large sort of locational play set with lots of figures to populate it. So, for a kid potentially buying one of those or having one of those, they could use it as a toy. Whereas the UCS sets should just be about the ships. And I wouldn't say to have no figures in them at all, because I think that would turn a lot of people off now at this point. But I don't know. And if that's the case, maybe the 8080 should have been a MBS, because obviously it's got lots of figures, but they can't very well just give you like one or two for something like that. That takes so many. So it's difficult. I think, even things like the Mandalorian, the what do you call it, the Razor Crest, because that had more than just a couple of figures in, but didn't have a huge array of figures. So no, I tell a lie. No, it did only have 2 figures in, didn't it? I can't actually remember now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the UCS Razor Crest only had Mandalorian and Grogu, but I could be wrong. Oh no, it had Queel in it, didn't it? So I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Slurpee. I think should really be about it should be about the set first and the figure second. So, but you're not going to be able to stop, even if it only comes with 1 or 2 figures. You're always going to have people who are just interested in collecting that figure and reselling that figure or whatever. So what else, guys? What kind of other conversation topics can we come up with? So I'll create another one now. So we were conscious of the time. I didn't want it to be like a long stream. And we spend most of that time trying to iron out technical difficulties. So, although we've been just an hour and 15 minutes, I think we've probably only been chatting for about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. So I do think Lego utilize the manufacturing UCS sets to push some over the edge. I know the Rex Fantasy situation was controversial, but that whole discussion clouded now beautifully designed sets. Yeah. Look, I didn't really care for that conversation, because I didn't own the Venator, but I am a huge Rex fan. But for me, I didn't really. It's not as if every UCS set in the past had an exclusive figure. So I don't see what the big deal was, because pretty much, even if they said it was exclusive, I think the controversy is around the fact that they said it was exclusive. But I think that the definition of the term can be argued as well, because at the point where it was released, it was exclusive. Something being exclusive at that point and remaining exclusive, it's just like saying, telling people you're single. if you've got that recorded, it doesn't mean you're single as long as people see that recorded. It's just, it was correct at the time, so you never lied. If you end up being married in a couple of years' time or have a partner, just I mean, I kind of saw it like that, so it didn't really bother me. But I guess for the people collecting, it was frustrating. But when you really think about it, the frustration can only come from greed, essentially. I don't know, maybe people got a different spin on that, but I feel like what would be the frustration if you bought that set for the figure and the build and they never said it was exclusive? How different would it be? So yes, you've been lied to by the company, essentially, in certain aspects. You might think you've been lied to by the company, but you've still got both. It's not like they've said, well, you've got to send one back. You still paid that amount of money to have both. The only thing that's frustrating about the exclusive is the fact that other people have now got it cheaper, which means that you're frustrated that you've paid all that money for that figure, which means that you only bought that set for the figure, which was probably the wrong thing to start with. So if you're going out there to buy UCS sets just for the figure, then you're setting yourself up to be disappointed, really, because the two reasons: one is because they could do that with the figures and release them later, and two is because you've got all that Lego and you spend all that money just to buy a figure, which I don't think would ever be worth that amount anyway. So yeah, if people are buying things for the exclusivity of it, then that's fine. But essentially, why I say it comes down to greed is because, for example, if you were buying something from a Comic-Con and a Comic-Con exclusive, and you queue up for ages, and you get it signed, and you pay X amount of money, and you go to the convention, and obviously the limitations on being able to get tickets to the convention, having to queue up, getting the item, then getting it signed, are massive. And then, I don't know, a few months later, they release the same, let's just say it's a pair of trainers. You get the trainers at a Comic-Con exclusive, you get them signed by Michael Jordan, whatever. And let's just say then that 6 months later, he releases those shoes to general sale, all signed. Yeah, that would be frustrating. I get that, because you've put all that extra time and effort into getting that thing and the exclusivity of it. But you went through all that so that you own them. You didn't go through all that so that other people don't own them. Do you see what I mean? That's my argument, is that you paid that money to get what you've got. You didn't pay that money to make sure other people don't have it. Because essentially, if you're frustrated about the exclusivity of a figure and the fact that other people have been able to get it cheaper, then you're trying to gatekeep that figure. You're trying to suggest that I've paid more, so I deserve it. You guys don't deserve it. That's the kind of feeling I get from it. And it doesn't change the fact that you still own it. So if you've gone through that, go through that, pay that money to own that set, to enjoy it, to have what you've got, to have what you like. Don't go through that because you want to be better or different or set yourself apart from other people, because that is fundamentally wrong in my eyes. Yes, I'll agree that it is frustrating that that a figure is released and you're told it's exclusive. But my point is that if it never said it was exclusive, how many more let's say for argument's sake 1,000 people bought that Venator. Of those 1,000 people, how many would have still bought it even if it didn't say exclusive next to X in the book? Because that's the only place it says it. That's the only place it's been seen. So if they took out that one word exclusive in the book, how many of those 1,000 people would have still bought it? I'm willing to say all 1,000 or 999 of them would have still bought it. So the frustration is kind of pointless because you were going to buy it anyway. The fact that it's been released cheaper, which happens to Lego all the time and always has happened to Lego and Star Wars Lego, you could kind of see it coming. So, and again, it comes down to me is that they bought that set not because they want it and because they like it, because they enjoy it. They bought it because they think that other people aren't going to be able to get it, and because they're going to be limited to how many people can get it, which goes back to the argument about how many people are buying it because of its value and because how much it will be worth in the future. And Ryan touched on it in the ACOB show that he appeared on, I think it was last week's,
where he said, when you're buying a phone, when you're buying a phone, you want to buy an iPhone because it'll hold its value better. If you don't buy it to resell it. And I'm the same with Lego. I'm not buying it to resell it. Otherwise, I wouldn't open my sets and stuff. But at the same time, I do look after my sets more than I would anything else, because there is a chance down the line. But I don't buy it specifically to think to myself, right, if I buy this, it's just like buying a set and buying two of a set to keep one sealed because one day might be worth something. I think that's kind of setting yourself up a disappointment, because of course everybody's doing that. The only reason some of these sets are worth so much is because people didn't do that. Same as the original release Star Wars Kenner figure line. Everybody bought them at that point. Most of the fans were kids, and everybody bought them to play with them. 99% of people bought to play with them, but the odd person who did keep them kept them sealed, and now I've made a mint of them. But obviously, the reason they made a mint is because they were one of very, very few people on the planet who did it. So for everybody to then try and do the same thing, like people did the same thing when the Power of the Force line came out in the 1997-ish time, and they were keeping their figures sealed. And I know, because I was one of those guys. In my mind, I was thinking to myself, do I actually want these figures? Do I need them? And I've sold them all now. But because so many people had the same idea as, they're going to be worth something in the future, they're going to be worth something, they're going to be worth loads, because you see these Boba Fett's go for thousands of pounds. Everybody was collecting them and thinking, yeah, these are going to be worth something. But that defeated the object, because everybody was doing that. So then now, if you look at most of those figures from that Power of the Force line, which came out more than 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago, they're not worth much more than they were when they bought them, because there isn't the market for them, because so many people have got them still sealed. So yeah, going off the point a little bit, I don't want us to turn into like a hive type thing where I just kind of rant about things, but it does frustrate me a little bit when people are talking about the exclusivity of any figures within a set, because it just suggests that the reason they're buying it is because how much it'll be worth, or how much it's worth, as opposed to how much it's worth to them. And that should be all that matters with something like Lego, but each to their own. Nimble, sorry mate, I didn't see you join. I seen your message saying you couldn't get on. How did you sort out the issue with your partner's, I can't remember if you said it was your wife or your girlfriend's car? Hopefully you did. But good to have you on board, mate. It's going very well. Congrats on 500, and I'm sorry I'm late. 500? If I've hit 500 Instagram followers while I've been on this chat, then that's unprecedented, because last I checked it was on about 430. But I did, if you're talking about the live stream I did last night, that was for 400, which I hit a while ago. I just didn't have time to celebrate or share it, and to be honest, I didn't even notice. So, but yeah, it was 400. But I don't know. I don't know. I think I've hit 500 or anything else. So I would have liked the Rex to be a little different from the Microfighter. I've got the Venator, so I think they should have done Rex without the headband on the Microfighter fig. Yeah, agreed to it being different. I don't disagree with any of that stuff. My kind of rant there was more about the people who are frustrated that what they've got is no longer exclusive, in the bare bones of it, because I understand the frustration with being told it's exclusive and it not being. The frustration for me, well, not even the frustration, because I don't really care, but what gets to me is the people who are like, they should never have released it for everybody else to get. Yeah, you're right. I do believe they should have a different figure in the Microfighter set, and I do believe they should have. I like the idea of them having sets, figures that are only specific to the sets, to the UCS sets. But I think they've already kind of destroyed that now, both in their reputation because of what they did with the UCS Venator, but also the fact that they've been releasing those figures in other sets for so long that I don't know why anybody ever expected that to be any different. But yeah, for me, I think it's more the frustration that, yes, they should be separate. They should have been different figures. Everybody should be able to get a Rex. And then I would have been happy that I've got a Phase 2 Rex. I wouldn't have thought to myself, well, I've got a Phase 2 Rex, but it's not the same as the one in the Venator, and I don't want to buy the Venator, so I'm going to have to buy it on the second-hand market. But then it's like, we've got one. So again, the argument goes both ways, because for the people who want to, if the figure had been exclusive to the UCS set, the people who were frustrated that they couldn't or didn't want to buy the UCS set, but wanted a Rex Phase 2, but weren't happy with the one that was different in the Y-Wing, if it was, what would be their frustration? Because do you want a Rex figure, or do you need to have every version of the figure? And I don't really get that. I don't see the point, unless you're one of these people who's collecting every single figure, which most people have got no capability to do. And what difference does it make? Why do you need to have every variation of that figure? And if you do, that's fine. But to the point where you're frustrated, you've got to share it. And this is what got me about the whole Rex and the Venator thing. It wasn't that people were frustrated about it. It's the fact that so many people were like taking to the streets almost and holding up banners like "Down with Lego" because they've let other people have something that really only should have belonged to me, kind of thing. You know, like kind of a bit selfish from my point of view. But again, it depends on your opinion. So all sorted. Yeah, got a bit of nice to see it's all sorted. It was 400. My bad. Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, you never know though, because I could go back onto Instagram after this, especially because I've been away from Instagram practically for a week. I could go back on after this stream and find that I've jumped to 500, especially after posting about this, posting a thumbnail for this chat, and for some reason it kept posting upside down. I'm not sure what that was about. I was tempted to just leave it on there just to kind of be like, hey, this is how badass and how crazy we are that we're actually gonna post this thumbnail upside down. But I have no idea why that kept happening. But more technical difficulties. So I've been to conventions where the Power of the Force figures are sale are worth less than they originally were. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are probably some out there that are worth a little bit more. But when you think of buying a figure for like a few pound, probably less than a few pound in the late 70s, early 80s, and it being worth thousands in the 90s, so, you know, only like 10, 15, less than 20 years later, and then you compare that to buying a figure for £5 or £6 in the 90s and it being priced now, which is over 20 years later, and the price of that being, you know, at the very best for something that's very rare and impeccable condition, possibly double the price if you're lucky, so worth maybe 10, 11 quid instead of 5, 6 quid. That's not really worth it, you know, because you've got to think about the time you've held on to it and you've looked after it. That all counts for value as well. Whereas these kind of beaters or these figures that we bought in the 70s and 80s and they kind of been playing with and tossed around and destroyed, they were still worth a lot more like 10 years later. And the value of that was, you know, the difference in the value was kind of here and here, as opposed to the Power of the Force line, which, you know, in your best case scenario is kind of there and there. And that even that original price is much higher than what we paid for the original price of those figures. So it just kind of seems a bit, I don't know, it just seems a bit weird to me that, man, I can see you trying to join again. You've just popped up as a guest again, but it's still not working. So I don't know the answer, mate. I hate the fact that you're still having a go, mate, and then not having any luck. It's really frustrating to me as well, and I'm kind of gutted. But yeah, so yeah, those Power of the Force. I mean, I collected a few. I'll be honest, and I kept some of them sealed, but they weren't worth much more. And again, you've got to think about the time that they've been kept, and you've looked after them in comparison. So you measure all that, and you're right. It's probably worth a lot less when you take into account all that. And obviously, people who kept Boba Fett from the 70s or 80s and sold it in the 90s for thousands of pounds. I mean, that was unprecedented at the time. So I think it's that whole thing of that Boba Fett and that being in the news at the time before social media really existed in the 90s and it blowing up and being everywhere, that propelled Star Wars fans and fans of any kind of franchise across the world into thinking that if I buy something and keep it in good condition, it will be worth more. And they just had that ingrained into them. And that includes me, that they want to keep things in boxes. They want to keep things sealed. And as an adult, that's acceptable. But as a kid, it doesn't make sense because why would you buy something just to keep it sealed? But as adults, yeah, we can do that. But people are trying to do it with everything. Or they're trying to, you know, they are physically doing it with everything they buy, which just kind of defeats the purpose. The thing is that nobody ever knew when that guy who kept Boba Fett sealed didn't know that Boba Fett was going to be worth loads. He did it with all of his figures. Some of them weren't worth a lot more, but the Boba Fett just happened to be, because it happened to be rarer. But he wouldn't have known at that point. You couldn't go online and find out how many of these were made. It was just by pure luck and pure chance. So people are out there now buying things thinking, right, this will be worth something in the future, like buying a Lego set, keeping one to stock and one to rock or whatever you call it, and keeping one sealed. That might be worth less in the future. But you could have a set which you think, wow, this ain't going to be worth something, and you open it, that if you kept it sealed would be worth something in the future. There's just no way of knowing unless you've got a time machine. So I don't see the point of it. I just think you should just invest in the collection for what interests you. If you want to keep something sealed, great. If you want to collect something that you think is exclusive because you think it might be worth something, that's fine as well. But just don't be disappointed when it ain't. So, so Nimble, I know you're here, and you've probably got a little bit more technical ability than most of us. Whittakee is trying to get on to be the co-host with me. We've been trying to sort this out before you joined, and we can't seem to get it. It's saying on his end that his browser isn't allowing access to video or audio, so it's not allowing him to join. He is joining here. He's coming down in the list. I've got like a control panel here, and he's appearing there as a guest. And when I click on him, it doesn't let me do anything apart from either kick him out or change his name. It doesn't give me the option to kind of add him. But I've also never had a guest join. I've only tried StreamYard out without going live, so I don't actually know how to add him on. So if there's somebody out there who's used StreamYard before or might know a little bit about allowing access to video and audio via a device, then let me know. What kind of device have you got, Whittakee? Is it a phone? I know it's a phone, sorry, but what kind of phone is it? I'm more frustrated that Lego sent gift vouchers to USA customers who complained about it. When I complained, they said they aren't giving out the vouchers anymore. Should be equality. That is absolute horse shit. That is. I'm really frustrated about that. I'd read a little bit about that, but I didn't realize that was something. I didn't really look into it anymore. I think M&R put it on one of his posts, and a lot of people got behind it, and I think they realized that, we're going to be giving out vouchers left, right, and center, and they kind of backtracked. So that is frustrating. So I really feel for you there, Nimble. That is really annoying. What was the voucher thing even real? I thought maybe I thought some of the Reddit community deduced that it had been fake messages. I don't know. Again, when it comes to Lego, unfortunately, great product. I love it, and I'll stick by it. But in terms of how it's managed, some ways, it can be frustrating. I've got to the point where I've told them, I'll leave that screen on there because I'll leave that comment on there because I think that's quite relevant to the chat at the moment. But yeah, I've been a little bit frustrated with Lego in the past a couple of times, to the point where I've told I don't shop online with Lego anymore because they've let me at the side down a couple of times. I'm not going to go through the details of it because I don't want to turn into a rant against Lego. But essentially, my partner ordered the Mos Eisley Space Canteen, the canteen, while it was on. She had to order it online because stores were closed at that point, and at the time, it was giving away the Yoda lightsaber with the purchase if you were a insiders or whatever it was called at the time, VIP member. And she logged on with my VIP information and everything. Now, when she gave me the set, without sounding kind of unappreciative, I did say, well, you're supposed to have got a free GWP with this? And she didn't really know what that was. And I sort of looked into it. And apparently when she added it to the basket, it was available, but they didn't actually deliver it. And when I chased it back up with Lego customer services, which was on the phone to them for a long time, they said, unfortunately, it's just kind of, if we send it, you get it. If you don't get it sent, it's because we didn't have any left. And that was it. That was all they were prepared to do. It turns out they hadn't added my points either. But I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't add my points either. Because it was past the point of the purchase. So I was really frustrated. So I just said, that's it, I'm not buying Lego online. I've done that in the past. Prior to that as well, I think I'd bought something and the GWPs were in my basket. But when the product turned up, they weren't there. And when I inquired about it, they said that they were out of stock at the point where my package was sent out, which was frustrating. And then there was the couple of years, 1 year in particular, I went to the Lego store on May the 4th, and that was the first year I believe that they'd gone early and they'd done May the 1st, because I think May the 4th happened to be a Saturday. No, it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and they launched it on the Monday, which again, it just comes down to greed. And by the time I got there on May the 4th, the May the 4th sets, exclusive sets, GWP sets, were all gone. So essentially, I'd gone in on May the 4th for the May the 4th event, and there was no GWPs, which nowadays you'd think, well, you know, we should have gone earlier. But at the time, it was the first year they'd done it, and they shouldn't be running out for May the 4th, especially when the website was saying, get on down, May the 4th, May the 4th, the May the 4th event. And they made a huge thing of calling it the May the 4th event. But on May the 4th, there was no event in store. There was literally like, because they'd done it all on May the 1st and they'd run out of the sets, they just didn't bother. So there was no build, make and take event, which they'd run on the Monday as well. None of that stuff. So I took the sets that I was going to buy to get the GWPs to the till, realized they didn't have any left, and I just left it there and walked out. And I did tell myself I wasn't going to go back into the Lego store, but I did end up doubling back on that, because instead I went on and logged a complaint with the Lego website, and I guess I had my say, and that was the end of it. So, but yeah, it can be frustrating. I think sometimes you just gotta sometimes prepare yourself to be disappointed. So, which is an awful thing to be saying, but allowed camera on everything, and it still says it can be accessed. In my email response from Lego, they said they had stopped doing the vouchers and the matter had ended. That's bad, that, isn't it? So wow, so it was real. When did you get the email? To be honest, I have not a clue. With StreamYard, not had any experience with it. Is he trying to use headphones or a microphone? Or we better just going straight from phone? Galaxy A14 straight from phone. I'm really not sure. Then that seems strange. Padawan and Bob are probably better for an answer, yeah, as they have experience with it. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even, apart from putting in the UK boys chat, I didn't really, and then that was only like half an hour before we went live. I didn't really kind of big this up and sort of do any kind of too much planning with it. I know that those guys are very busy at the moment because of their jobs and stuff. Same as myself, actually. It just turns out that they're very busy at the moment. So I didn't want to kind of pester them with different things. The one thing is for me is that even if I'd spoken to Boba or Padawan and they'd been able to walk me through it, unless I was physically doing it, I'm more of a doer than a learner on paper kind of person. So even if they'd walk me through exactly what to do, they couldn't have prepared me for every eventuality, and I wouldn't have actually learned it until I was physically doing it. So everything I've learned on StreamYard, like putting these banners up, putting these comments on, I've learned that as I've been going. Now, I've used StreamYard a couple of different times in terms of like setting things up and using it and working out how to do different things, but it does change slightly when you go live. And the other thing I haven't been able to do is add in an extra person. So the way it works is I'm currently on the two devices. So if I click on myself here, so that's also me, but it's muted and the mic and the camera is off. So, but I didn't actually do anything to get that person in. You know, I logged in on StreamYard on my tablet and I logged in on StreamYard on my phone, and I was automatically in on both. So although I know how to, when the person's in the green room, I know how to ask how to put that version of me in and out and mute them and whatever, and I can do the same with, so I can also potentially take the one that you're looking at, this one, off using that one, because obviously I'm controlling it from two devices, but that's when you're controlling it. I don't know how it looks for Martin on his end trying to enter. All I know is that when I go into StreamYard, it gives it. So when I went into StreamYard with Padawan, I just entered the link, went into StreamYard, put the link in, and I just kind of popped up. I could test my own mic and everything, can mute myself, could change my name, and then I could enter. Then he had to let me into the, I believe, yeah, he had to let me into the, or I had to click a button to say like I'm ready, and then he would let me in. And then the two of us were on screen even before we went live, and we could chat, and he could test my hood, or I could test his, or whatever. But of course, I was on the receiving end of that. So from what I remember, I go into StreamYard first, Martin, if this is something you haven't already done. I go into StreamYard first, just on my browser. Then in StreamYard, I think there's an option to kind of find a stream. So you put in the link and join, and then you should have a box in front of you which shows your face and a microphone thing down the side. And as you talk, the green thing will go up and it'll say whether the mic is working or not. And then there's some buttons on, you get 4 buttons across the bottom to switch off your microphone, your headphone. You just click them and it'll just change it. And then I think it'll pop up with you as an option, and I can just add you in. But once you're ready, so I think there's a button you've got to press which kind of says, you know, I'm happy. So that stops me from kind of, if you were there testing, or you were getting dressed, or if you were setting up your background ready for the picture, I couldn't add you in. So that you were like, oh no, I'm in the middle of something. No, I think there was a button, I can't remember what it was, that you have to press to say like I'm ready, and then it alerts me to say you're there, and I add you in, and then you just appear like here. So I don't know, mate. It's difficult to say without, because obviously when I log into StreamYard, even if I was to do it on a third device, it would just take me to my own homepage. The only way I'd be able to see what it looks like to go into someone else's is if I had the link to someone else's, which obviously I haven't got now. So, so pass. So I'm really sorry I can't help you there, mate. But we can, unless you want to try and troubleshoot it on Google somehow. See if there's a. That's what I always do. If I'm honest, if I can't get something to work, I literally just Google, how do I get my mic working on? You can be really specific, like how do I join someone else's StreamYard, or my phone won't let me join StreamYard, and it usually gives me options or a little YouTube tutorial to watch. That 9 times out of 10 works for me for everything. Pardon me. Yeah. Trying to get hold of your children. Yeah, well, I was the same with my partner. When I realized the tablet wouldn't work, the laptop wouldn't work, which I'm used to using, and I'm kind of gotten used to I can type on it, and whereas with this tablet, it's a little bit of a pain because as long as the screen's slightly smaller, but you have to kind of, it's just a pain to use. I'm not used to using it, but I can't remember what the password is for the tablet, for the laptop, because it's hers. So I've got a few issues myself, if I'm honest, but yeah, if it could be something I'm doing, man. Honestly, it could be that I've not clicked something I should be clicking, but I just don't know how to do it. Let's have a little look. Guests. So the only options I've got on here under guests is guests can stream to their own destinations, guests can see viewer comments, play a sound when a guest enters, guests must authenticate. Guests must authenticate. Well, I haven't clicked that anyway, so that shouldn't matter. So there's an option for a green room, but you've got to have the premium for that. So I can't do anything about that. So the other me is still on there at the moment. Right. So remove that guy, which is me. So yeah, I'm not having any problem removing that. I mean, at the moment, you're not even there as an option, but every now and then it does pop up, which I'm guessing is you trying to join. So the only other thing I've got is an invite. When I click the invite button, it just gives me the link, which I've already sent you. So you've obviously used that to get as far as you have. So that doesn't seem to be an option either. So I really don't know, mate. I'm sorry I couldn't help you out. Like I said, worst case scenario, I'd rather us try and sort it now. This stream isn't like, you know, it's not going to change lives as it is. So I'd rather have a go at it now than we try and do it offline just to find that when we go live it doesn't work again. So it was always a bit of a tester anyway. I was just hoping that maybe someone would join who has used StreamYard before. Or right, okay, so you're popping up as a guest again now. So I usually type it on my phone and it doesn't work. So I'll try it on the tablet instead and see if it gives me different options. So my options are Martin. So your name has come up. So obviously you've typed in your own name in there. So that's come up. So it is recognizing that you are there. Gives me the option to edit your name. So I could jokingly put, you know, technophobe or something like that if I wanted to. And then it gives me the option to kick you from the studio, which basically kicks you out. It also gives me the option to ban you from the studio, which means that you're not going to ever be able to log back in. But I can promise you I haven't pressed that. And if I had pressed that, you wouldn't get as far as you are. So you are 100% there. But what it's not giving me the option to do is add you to the stage. And I think that's because there's no video. Now, if you add audio and no video, I could add you, because I know like when Falcon Fan comes on the ACOB stream, he doesn't show his face for obvious reasons, but he appears as a kind of like an avatar. So in your case, it would probably just be a picture of a camera with a line through it because there's no video, but your audio would still be there. So there would be an extra screen to my left or to my right, and your voice would be coming streaming. However, for whatever reason, that isn't working. So yeah, and so you've gone again. So it's not giving me the option to add you to, like, all I do with the other version of me is I click on it and it gives me all the same options. The only difference is that there is an option to say add to stage, which is essentially what I need to do, but it won't let me do it. So but anyway, let's go for another topic. For those of people who are watching and have been very patient and understanding of the fact that they watch me just the top of my shiny head looking down, so I appreciate that, guys. Again, this is all trial and error, so you know I appreciate you bearing with me. At the end of the day, I could have been speaking to nobody. So, so favorite all-time set. So I'm not gonna say favorite UCS, favorite MBS, favorite old set, favorite new set, because I don't think, you know, we're almost 2 hours in and I don't really want to open up loads of cans of worms now. But what's your favorite all-time set? And what I will say is Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars. Favorite all-time Star Wars set. If you've got a top 3, maybe top 5, then bang it in the comments and I'll throw it up on the screen. Happy to be here to support and catch up with the fellas. Yeah, thanks, mate. This is always what it's going to be. It's just a bit of a chat. It is a little bit easier when there's someone else because they can fill in voids and gaps. The other thing is that I really need to use the toilet. I mean, I'm not busting, but I was hoping Whittakee could fill in the gap because I didn't get a chance to go before I started the stream, and I've obviously been drinking. But if I disable the microphone, if I just went now, you guys would hear everything, which is not what you want to hear because the microphone's attached to me. But if I muted it, then there'd be nothing. So I was hoping Whittakee. I did want you for more than that, mate. Honestly, you were never here just to fill in for my toilet breaks. But no, look, obviously this was always just going to be like a bit of a hangout, a bit of a chat. But yeah, it is always nice to have somebody else to bounce off. But it is what it is. We'll sort something out. My favorite all-time set is the Last Family Homestead GWP. Ooh, yeah, I've got that somewhere because most of the GWPs I own, I've never. And out of curiosity, Nimble, while we're on the subject of this, because I've seen you Bluestone, obviously, and this chat isn't specific, like, you know, I don't want to just say it's Star Wars Lego only. I did put it in the Instagram banner, but that's just 2 of the things we're probably going to cover most. So we can talk about other sets, and I'm more than happy for you to talk a little bit about Bluestone if you want, especially for people who might be watching this on replay and be interested in that kind of thing. But I couldn't quite see through looking at your sets and through looking at Bluestone what actual sets you've got in there. It seems to be like a lot of your own kind of stuff and a few other sort of sets. And I'm not up to scratch with that, so I wouldn't know what was a set and what wasn't, if I'm honest. Anyway, but I'm just wondering if you picked up the GWP a couple of years back, which is like Magisto's workshop or whatever it was. Just curious. But yeah, that Lars Family Homestead, that's the one where it's like got R2D2 3PO represented in like a single stud, isn't it? I never actually opened it, although I own all of those kind of micro scale. But yeah, why they've never made like a more sort of probably fleshed out version of that set, I'll never know. But maybe one for the future, because I got an Amperu. Oh wait, what do you mean? The Amperu one? Where's the internal? I'm trying to. Yeah, no, because the other one I think is the Homestead the one where? Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I was thinking of I think it's Tatooine actually, because they're planet sets, aren't they? I was thinking of the micro scale one, because obviously it's got Luke and R2D2 and they got that little yeah, it's kind of on the planet, but I think it's supposed to be near the homestead, because if I remember rightly, the sandcrawler's there as well. So effectively, that is the whole homestead. But you're talking about the kitchen of the homestead. So yeah, and I believe that is what it's called. So you are spot on. I totally forgot about that one. Yeah, so we've got an Amperu. I've never had a Laz, and I don't want to go back to what we were talking about before about people having to own every version of a set, but every figure and all the rest of it. But I don't feel bad that I haven't got him, and I certainly wouldn't go out and buy like a sandcrawler just to get him. But it's almost like when they start something like that, even if it's only two, you'd think the following year they would do like the workshop with him, or the bottom half of a sandcrawler with him and some droids. Do you see what I mean? So I like the fact that they did that set. It is a fantastic set. I've never built it, but it does look good. It's got a good following. And it was the start of us thinking, yes, finally, we've got GWPs. They're really good. And I liked the previous GWPs, the micro scale things. But this was like, yes, this is much better. This is a great display set. It's got a figure. Fine. And then it kind of just changed again the following year. So it was like, I don't know. I feel like they pick up a lot of different ideas and they just drop them down before they've had a chance to. And with something like that, they can measure it on sales. So it's not like they can say, wow, well, this is really popular because lots of people bought it. So let's do that again. So I don't know what their reasoning for A, starting it and deciding that as a GWP in the first place, and B, then deciding not to carry on with it, But then am I the weirdo? Are we weirdos as fans for assuming that every time they start, there's got to be a theme? Why can't they just do random one-off sets? So maybe that's the way Lego thinks. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the Tatooine Homestead you're thinking of. Yeah, you are right. I was thinking of something else. It's micro scale out of that one as well. Yeah, okay. It was Luke, Owen, Lars, C3PO, Jawa, and a Sandcrawler in a micro scale. That's right. Yeah, I remember having a bunch of studs, but obviously I've not seen it. I've only seen it on the box. I bought an Owen Lars figure to go into my set next to Amperu. I also added Blue Milk Luke to complete the family. Yeah, I have got the Blue Milk Luke somewhere. I think he's in my profile actually on YouTube, I believe. I'm not sure. A little bit like Slurpee there. My name is the same across all my platforms, but my pictures are slightly different. So I'll probably need to tighten that up, because I can see, Nimble, you've got the same one across your different things. But I was chatting to Slurpee earlier about how confusing it is, because obviously his name and his profile picture varies from Discord to YouTube to Instagram. I think it kind of gets confusing as to who I've spoken to and who's who, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, on mine you can see I've got like Blue Milk Luke, and a battered up, customized lightsaber hilt, which is made from the same materials that the original lightsaber was made from. So that piece of that bar from a camera and that kind of thing. So it was actually somebody recreated the lightsaber. You can't really see the picture here, but all you can see, it just looks like a cup of something blue, but it's actually blue milk, which I made myself. So blue food coloring with coconut milk, and you can add alcohol to that if you wanted to as well. Could make it like a blue Russian and add sort of vodka. Is it vodka? No, I can't actually remember what's in a white Russian. Pretty sure it's milk, vodka, milk. I know a black Russian's got Tia Maria in, but if you put that in a white Russian, it wouldn't be white anymore. So I can't remember. Anyway, I can't drink milk anyway. I've got an allergy to it now, so that's why I have to use coconut milk. But coconut milk, blue thingy, and then just mix it with some ice. And then yeah, so there's made from a Graflex handle. Somebody customized it, but made it actually look tatty. Because one thing I always questioned about the fact that lightsaber changed hands so many times, but still looked immaculate, even when Luke had it, and then even in the sequel series, it's still like immaculate. I just think for what I went through, it'd be a little bit more tatty than that. So yeah, so a guy I knew had customized one to make it look like weathered and used, and I really thought it was fantastic, and he was selling it quite cheap because he was getting out of the custom game, and I bought it off him, and it looks fantastic. But you can't really see it in that picture. But yeah, blue milk Luke as well. So there's kind of a Luke original trilogy theme going on throughout that little picture you can see from my profile on YouTube. But I'm going to get a shot of it, I think, and make it more Cool Hand Luke sort of orientated and get this in there somehow, and then possibly the helmet I seem to use. But yeah, you bought the Owen Lars. So where did you get the Owen Lars? Did you just buy him on his own? Did you buy the Sandcrawler to get him as well, or did you just buy the figure on his own? I'm curious how much you paid for it, because I think he only came in that microfiber, that Sandcrawler, that one version of the Sandcrawler set, or the newer version of him, because I think there's two versions of him out there. It only came in that Sandcrawler set, which would suggest that you got the newer one. I wondered how much you paid for him. I bought him on his own from eBay for about 70 quid, brand new. But when you say brand new, because I was curious about this, you say brand new, I'm assuming he wasn't sealed in the bag if you didn't buy the rest of the set. You class him as your number one Star Wars figure of all time. Is that because he's your number one favorite character, or because of how much you paid for him, or because of how hard he was to get hold of, or just because he's your favorite fig in general for whatever reason? 70 quid brand new. So yeah, this is why I always question, and I'm not trying to knock, how new it is or anything like that. That's obviously your, that's for you to define. But I'm just curious as the fact that if he's come out of another set, what is it that makes him brand new? But I don't think I'll get my probably favorite Lego minifigure. He isn't my favorite Star Wars character, and he isn't necessarily the best Lego figure I own. But I think he's a nice mashup of both, which is Embo from Clone Wars. So he's one of the bounty hunters, but he's got the hat that he takes off and throws. So for me, the reason I like him is because he's like an 8 or 9 out of 10 figure and an 8 or 9 out of 10 character. There are some 9s and some 10s of both. But if the character is a 10, the figure is a 4, and that is not a particularly great character. Or if the figure is a 10, the character itself. So like there's some figures that look absolutely fantastic, but the characters are crap, or they're not that good, or they're forgettable. So for me, Embo is like one of my sort of top 10 favorite characters, but also one of my top 10 favorite figures in terms of what he looks like, the detail they put on him, the fact that he's, what the piece they used for his helmet. Disappointed he didn't get his dog with him, or his mutt type thing, or whatever it is, wolf thing. But we did get the figure, and for the time, the detail was pretty good. The set it came in was pretty good, but generally the figure itself looks cool. So Embo, yeah, great Embo. He's brand new, I suppose, because the seller bought the set brand new, but sold all the figs. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because I've seen people say that before, like, something's brand new, never been built, and you just think, oh, how would you know? But and obviously a brand new set, sealed, still in bags, but the box has been opened. and then, you know, if it's been open, the bags have been opened, but it's never been built. And then if it's been built, but it's been looked after, you know, there's so many different varying levels, and they can interlock it. They can kind of mix in as well, especially when it comes to figures. Because, so yeah, it's a bit of a strange ground. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, if you've got a figure that you're happy with, nobody ever really needs to know. I think when you're buying a set or you're displaying a set, it's still sealed in its box. So if I say, for example, I had Cloud City Boba Fett here, still sealed in the set he came in, then yeah, I effectively own him. But have you got any enjoyment out of that figure when you've never even touched it? So I don't really get that. I don't really understand that. But generally, if you've got that figure, even if he was brand new, still in the box, and the guy gave you the set, crack the seals on the box, open the bag, take the figure out, and send the rest back to him, the second you've done that, he's not brand new anyway. So it don't make a lot of difference to me. I only ask out of curiosity, but yeah, to me, it's like it don't make no difference to me. If somebody comes, not that they ever would, come to my house and see my display, or what in the future when I do have a display, come and see my figures and say, "Oh, look at that one. Oh, but was he brand new when you had him?" Like, nobody's ever going to ask that. Nobody cares. Even if another Lego, one of you guys, for some reason, ever came to my house, or if you live local and we came and saw each other's collections, if I saw somebody, if I went and saw your setup of the Han Peru, my first question wouldn't be, "Oh, did you get that brand new?" Although I asked you on here, just because obviously you mentioned the set, and I know that Uncle Owen didn't come with it. But my first thing wouldn't be, "Oh, well, is that brand new? And how new is it? What did you?" Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think anyone really cares. At the end of the day, as long as you've got the figure that you want, however you've acquired it, that's all that matters. But you're right. When you want to get the figures you want, you don't tend to have to pay a little bit extra for them, which is frustrating. Yeah, I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head there. The wear and tear, I think, is one of the things that, you know, measures the quality of a figure, tells you whether it's what kind of figure it is. So the one thing I can't do from here, guys, I'm not sure whether any of you can, because I'm trying to manage StreamYard on a separate device, is I can see how many viewers we've got, but I can't see who they are. I don't even know whether StreamYard or YouTube would tell you. So it'd be interesting. Be sure the volume is off on that. No, it does. It doesn't tell you how many viewers on YouTube either. So it's kind of pointless me having that open even. But all right, I can see who the person is now though. But the comments come on there as well, which is Kingo. So King Oldendorf, welcome to the chat, mate. You haven't missed anything particularly exciting other than lots of technical difficulties, but I'm glad you could join us, even if it is just to say hello. But yeah, how we doing, mate? We're currently talking about the favorite all-time set, and Nimble just happened to mention his all-time favorite figure as well, which is Uncle Owen. And my favorite all-time figure is Embo. I haven't said my set yet because I'm still up in the air with it. It's either going to be something from Rogue One or Solo, because I remember thinking that both those waves of sets were probably the best. Again, there are probably sets out there that are higher in my ranking than all of the Rogue or all of the Solo sets. But overall, like every set in that wave is kind of an 8 or a 9. So overall, the wave, you know, if I had to come out with different waves, I'd say they were like my top 2 was Rogue One and Solo in terms of waves of sets, or sets from a film or a movie or a franchise. So I definitely say it'd have to be one from there. I want to say the Solo TIE Fighter, but I haven't built it yet, so it just seems wrong to say that that's my favorite set. Although I think it is the best version of a TIE Fighter I've seen. Let's have a look, Martin. Come on, Martin. Nah, still doesn't let me do anything, mate. It's still literally just saying name. Man, oh man. I got some private comments, so let's just see if that's. No, that's not mine. Okay. So yeah, Kingo, if you're still there, mate, what's your favorite all-time set? Put in the comments. Very busy at the moment. Yeah, I understand, Kingo. I appreciate you popping in just to say hi. It was really good of you. So thanks very much for that. Hope you're well, mate. How are things up where you are? Weather here is been nice and dry, but it's starting to get a bit dreary and rainy a little bit now. So, but yeah. So my favorite all-time set. Do you know what? I think I have to probably say I think it's going to be the Walker, the ATST Walker from Rogue One. I don't have great comment. That's a go-to comment. Don't have one, as I treat every set I own equal. What a guy. Don't have a favorite child. Treats them all equal. No, that's look. That's probably why I'm struggling so much, because I was tempted to say the not the Force Awakens, the Rise of Sky, the Last Jedi ATST Walker, not because the one with just legs is the best set by any stretch of the imagination, but the fact that I've been able to customize it and build the ATST First Order ATST head on top of it, I've got that set complete now, and it looks fantastic. It's really good, and I've always liked the ATST Walkers, the Chicken Walkers as they used to be called. So for me, that's a great set, but that's my own kind of build, my own mock. But I do like I know the Rogue One, which came with Baze Malpus, but again, am I saying it because it came with great figs? Because I know it had that, it had a trooper in there, it had a rebel trooper, and it also had Baze Malpus in it, which is one of my favorite figs because that good. So again, I feel like I'm being swayed by what figures came with the set as opposed to the set itself. So you're gonna have to leave it to me, guys, because I can't honestly answer my own question at the moment. But let's have a look. Whittakee. I am now officially giving up. Maybe next time, unless this has put you off. It hasn't put me off at all, mate. I'm more than happy for you to, like I said, I'm more than happy for you to do it with, do these streams with me, because I want to make a regular thing of it. It'll have a little bit more warning, a little bit more, what do I call it, a structure to it. This was really only a kind of test and a kind of like a hangout. I mean, there'll all be a bit of a hangout, but they'll have like set questions and they'll have a set routine and they'll have banners ready and some pictures ready and stuff like that. But this was only ever really to kind of test it, see how things go. My first time running a lot StreamYard. Some people may or may not know that if you've got a YouTube account, you can actually do live videos on YouTube unless you've got more than 50 subscribers. And I don't have 50 subscribers. So the reason I'm able to do this is only through StreamYard, which means I have to, I can't just film on the fly. Well, you can, but you need to have set a time, or not set a time, but you need to have kind of set up a few things beforehand, a few parameters. But I didn't want to do that and just be talking to myself and not have anybody here. So it kind of made sense to advertise it a little bit, but not too much that, I had maybe, not to say that I'd have that many people watching anyway, but I didn't want to have sort of 10 and 20, 30 people here potentially, because I'd advertised it for like a week in advance. And then not know what I'm doing and all the rest of it. So I was kind of glad there's only like a handful of us who I already know quite well and are quite understanding, which you have been. So I appreciate that, guys. But yeah, I want to do this on a regular basis, and I've got some plans in the pipeline for what I want to do. And even if it's just once a month, it's never going to be like a weekly thing, certainly not to start with. And I'm more than happy to host all of those with me, co-host all of those with me, and we'll come up with something and we'll sort it out. And if any of the other boys want to jump on, because I think it'll be a lot easier for me to interview another person if there's a third person to bounce off, or a co-host to bounce off. And I know, speaking to Padawan, he said the same thing, which is that he's really confident in what he does, and you guys have probably seen that. But as he said to me prior to that and on that stream, is that he still wouldn't want to do it on his own. And it is a little bit, as soon as Whittakee couldn't first get on, I was kind of like, oh, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? And I'm able to just kind of talk nonsense and blag it, thanks to you guys. But yeah, Martin, don't be swayed, mate. I'd rather you just be in the chat and enjoy. But yeah, sorry, Nimbo, I just noticed this comment. I've got to shoot, mate, but thanks for the stream. Enjoyed that, and good to catch up with you guys. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and catch up. You're on UK Boys tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to UK Boys tomorrow because I've got some plans. But if I can get on there just to say hi, I will. But thanks for joining us, Nimble. I really appreciate you being here. And anybody who hasn't already, go over to Nimble Saucepan on YouTube and subscribe to his channel, where he does cover mostly medieval. He's got a little town called his own mock town that he's called Bluestone, and he's kind of doing regular updates on that. And yeah, go and follow him. And even if you might not be a medieval fan, it's still quite interesting and fun to watch. So thanks, Ahmed. Talk about this in a second, Slurpee. But Martin, yeah, like I said, in case I didn't really answer your question, I'm not concerned at all about the fact that you weren't on here. It was disappointing, obviously, more probably for you than me, but it was, I know, frustrating and disappointing. Yes, it's not the end of the road. We can have another go another time. My main concern is the fact that unless we're physically going live, there's no way to kind of there's not really any way to kind of fix the problem. And if we do get in this situation again, I'm only going to be in the same boat as I am now, where I can only do so much. Once I'm live streaming, I can't like fiddle around with my phone and do different things. I can't even really chat with you like without it being in the main chat. And even that is difficult because it's a bit of a pain for me to try and make comments even in the YouTube chat. So yeah, so it's difficult. So I think we need to try and look for an outside source to try and help you with that. Someone else who can sort of see. But the first thing they're probably going to say is, well, maybe I wasn't adding them right. And obviously, so it's almost like we need a third person in here while we're live streaming to troubleshoot it for us. That's the issue I'm going to have, is that I think next time we do this, let's say in a couple of weeks' time or in a couple of days' time, we're going to have the exact same issues because we haven't really solved anything. So unless we're going live, there's no way of knowing how it works or why it doesn't work. So Slurpee is saying Rogue One ATST walk was great. Brother got it for me for Christmas back in 2020. Yeah, I bought it. Did I buy it new? I don't think I even bought it new. I think I bought it secondhand. Pretty sure I did. Did I buy it new? See, this goes back to what I was saying before. At this point, it doesn't really matter to me, because if I've bought sets secondhand and they've turned up and they've been a bit tatty or a bit dirty, I've washed them or I've replaced parts that are missing and I've, cleaned them up. And even if I hadn't, the only person who's looking at them is me. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as anyone else is concerned, I could have bought all those sets brand new. Other than the fact that it's been a lot cheaper for me to buy some of my sets the way I have. Ultimately, it doesn't make no difference, because the result is the same, is that I've got that set. It's one of my favorite sets. Nobody ever needs to know whether I had it brand new or not, because I don't actually remember, which says it all. So, but I do like the Castle Run. Castle Run Millennium Falcon as well. It's one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite version of the Millennium Falcon, although that's kind of sacrilegious to say that. But I do enjoy that version of the Castle Run, the Falcon, and I remember really enjoying the build. I'll tell you another set I actually do like is I like the Hyper Ring, Obi-Wan Kenobi Starfighter with Hyper Ring. That was really interesting. A bit tedious to build a Hyper Ring, but it looked fantastic built. one of my favorite sets. I like that Bounty Hunter green and yellow ship that Embo came with. Probably wouldn't, not going to say is, probably wouldn't make my top 10, but off the top of my mind now, I'm just thinking of sets that actually look good on display and I enjoyed building. Yeah, I could probably go forever, but yeah. So let's see if this changes my audio slightly for anybody listening, because my battery's about to die, and for whatever reason, it only charges it when I have this portable speaker plugged in one direction. So let's just see if it changes. So it's still showing green. So has my audio changed? Does it sound any better? Does it sound any worse? Does it now sound like it's coming out my phone instead? Let me know. Perhaps you should buy a new phone. I wouldn't have thought so, mate. I mean, I know you're probably saying that tongue in cheek, but I don't think you need to. I'm trying to remember which you said you had. Did you say an A13 or an A14? Not that that means anything to me anyway. A14, Galaxy A14. I mean, that's relatively, I mean, they should all be the same. I mean, you're accessing microphone and camera. It's not like you're trying to get, you're trying to access an app that's brand new or anything like that. I mean, using it through StreamYard's there's no app for StreamYard as far as I know. They're only available through the website. And it sounds like the issue is with your browser. So the only thing you could probably try and do is use a different browser. What browser are you using? So the browser I'm using is, I don't actually know. So I'm using Samsung, the standard Samsung browser. But it might depend on that. Normally when I try and do something on my phone and it says, you haven't got permission to use audio or video or whatever, it takes you straight to the option to change that or select that. So I don't know. Tried Chrome, Firefox, and Samsung. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not much of a techie myself. Most things I've learned on the fly. So I wouldn't be able to tell you. But so going back to the questions, Whittakee, because I know you've been in and out like a yo-yo, and you've not really had a chance to sort of settle in with the other guys, which I apologise for as well. But what's your... Wait, I'm pointing in the wrong direction. Sure. Favourite all-time set? If you've got a favourite all-time set. Unless you're like Kingo, who treats all his sets as equal, so therefore he hasn't got a favourite. I tell you what could potentially be my new favorite all-time set soon, but I don't think it's right to regard something as an all-time favorite set when you haven't actually built it yet. But I know the banner's in the way. Let me just get rid of that banner a sec. Hasn't really made much of a difference because my name is still there. But we've got here, I won't try and move it because that Insider's Lego poster is lens up against it. We've got the Ghost and Phantom 2 set that was released earlier this year. That is, I think it's likely that's going to be my all-time favorite set very soon because it looks fantastic. I love the Ghost. It's got 2 builds. The figures in it are pretty sweet. I'm a huge Chopper fan. I've always liked the Mon Calamari species, even since seeing Admiral Akbar and Return of the Jedi. It's not just grey, it's white and a bit of colour. And I just think it looks quite bulky, and I don't know. I just think it's like every other ship, but it's kind of got a certain amount of symmetry to it, which means you're going to be two sides are going to be building, although opposite to each other, very similar. But I don't know, I just like the look of it. I think it looks great, so I can't wait to get that built and on display. And as it happens, this is probably one of my favourite. I always like the. I had to look what it's called now, so I've forgotten. I was going to call it the battle droid, but the probe droid. I always like the probe droid from the Empire Strikes Back. That was pretty cool. And they popped up in a couple of the other movies since. But this kind of series they started doing with the kind of buildable droids, I thought was fantastic. So there was this, and then you've got the what do you call it? The Droideka now, and a few others. Those again, they make fantastic display sets. So hoping to get that on there eventually. Oh mate, that's so. Oh, that's sad. That's really disappointing. I even went out this morning, bought a random box of boys to celebrate my first stream. Oh well, shit happens. It does indeed, mate. It does indeed. What I will say though is be careful typing swear words into YouTube, because like I ain't got a problem with it, and you can swear on YouTube because mine is not a children's account to a certain extent. But I think if you swear a couple of times in the comments of YouTube, you could find yourself getting a ban. At least that's what I've heard, and I only say that because I swore, I think, in one of the UK boys' streams very early on, and they may pretty much said the same thing to me. I don't know what that looks like, whether you get a ban or what happens, but somebody just said to me, look, careful, because so you may find in your version of the YouTube chat that a little box pops up saying, watch what you're saying or something like that, but if not, then you might be okay. Shit actually is in the dictionary, so but yeah, you went out and bought a box of boys. What box of boys was it though, Whittakee? Just so we can have a little bit of celebration. Hopefully, I know I did mention building on stream. I probably would have only done it if there was two of us, because you find yourself too engrossed in the stream, and then I wouldn't be looking at like the top of my head when I'm looking down at the Lego. It was different when I was on the stream with when we did the 72-hour stream. I don't know if you guys ever caught that. We did the 72-hour stream, and I appeared as one of the guests with Oaktown Bricks and Scala. Oh Christ, who were the other two guys I appeared with? I forget the names off the top of my head because I only met them that day. Something Lunchbox and something else. Anyway, we were all building. So it was kind of like, and there was four of us, so there was always conversation going around. So we put Oaktown Bricks was part of the 72-hour live stream, and he was looking for people to go on as guests, so popped on as a guest with him. And I thought I was going to be popping on for 5 minutes, but he wanted me on for the whole stream, which was like an hour. So that was good. But so check that out if you haven't already. It was quite funny to watch us all building something different and reviewing our sets as we were going along, as well as chatting like we are now. Kind of gave me the idea for this really, because it was just very free and relaxed and just chatting. So, but yeah, what box of boys did you get, mate? Yeah. Oh, the Mandalorian one, right? Okay, so that's the Mandalorian. Oh, Christ, my brain's gone now. Up until now, I haven't really forgotten anything, but I've just totally forgotten because I popped in to grab myself one, and I was going to do the same just in case I built it, but I have already got it somewhere here. But I did the same thing, and I remember looking at it and thinking, "Nah, that's cheaper than being in game." But game was closed at that point, so I didn't bother. But I popped into B&M and I was tempted to get it as well. But I think it's called, is it the Mandalorian Crusaders Battle Pack or something like that, or whatever it is there. Mandalorian Loyalist Battle Pack, something like that. Anyway, I can't remember. But yeah, cool battle pack though. Did you still build it, or have you kept it? Keep hold of it. Maybe we can have another go at some point this week. I think the next day I'm going to be available is probably going to be next Sunday. Not the Sunday coming, but the following Sunday or Monday now. More likely the Monday, to be honest. And if you're working, then maybe you'd have to do an evening stream. But because after the day, I'm pretty much packed out. My diary is packed out. So for the week. I got a week off work, or 10 days off work as it happens, and something going on for every one of them. So, but yeah, I get it. You went out and bought a set, but keep hold of it, enjoy it, or take it back. And the Star Wars is probably Vader's castle. Everything else, Rivendell. Ooh, Star Wars out. Vader's castle though is chef's kiss. That's probably one of the best, biggest sets that I've built. Definitely the Vader in that at the time was like world class. I know he's been available in lots of things since, but better versions of him have come out. But yeah, Vader's castle though, yeah, I had that on display for quite a while, and it happened to be around about Halloween I built it, so my partner was happy with us having it on display in the living room at the time, so that was quite cool. Ambush on Mandalore battle pack. I don't know what I was thinking of then. Maybe I was thinking of the figure that came with it, because I know that was like a Mandalorian loyalist. But anyway, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Ambush on Mandalore battle pack, because it goes with the bunker, doesn't it? Or it can be paired with the bunker. It's sat unopened on my lap. Oh, mate, I'm gonna have to. What I'll do is I'll try and reach out to Padawan. It's pointless doing it now, because obviously we're way over what I thought I was ever going to be here chatting anyway. And I've got to go soon, because I guess my partner will be getting home from work soon, and I'm in charge of making supper and tidying up for us. But so I won't be on for much longer, guys. Unfortunately, we'll call it a day shortly. But what I will say is I'll speak to Padawan offline and see if he can kind of offer some advice. The only problem is that, like I said before, as he tells me what could be the issue, I ain't gonna know whether that was the issue or not. I'm not gonna be able to test it, and then obviously try and relay that to you. And I couldn't do that while we were on here, because I've only got access to Instagram on my on there. So, I mean, I have got it on this tablet as well, but it's a nightmare trying to do all three. I don't think he's available anyway, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure he's busy, so. I don't know what's going on in the Instagram chat. I don't know if there's pictures missing or what, but I've just logged on now to see if any of the guys are available to offer some advice on our issue. And there's a conversation going on about something I don't really understand. It says, ouch, unfortunately, I can't do anything but let it heal naturally. But there's no picture, so I don't actually know what he's referring to, because then Boba Josh says, yes, the second time now I landed a head kick and I heard it break as it landed. So I'm assuming he's broken his foot. So he says, what did you do to his head? But there's no actual pictures. So again, because I'm using Instagram on this tablet, it's a bit of a nightmare. So for whatever reason, it's not showing pictures other than ones I've shared. So no idea what that's all about. But we'll get some answers, and we'll sort it out another time. Because it's obviously too late now anyway. But yeah, so thanks for everybody for being here, for supporting me and Whittakee in this kind of first test stream. We have had a bit of a chat, and obviously I've done all of the talking, which is not unusual for me, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been good just to sort of chat, hang out, discuss things, and for me, being able to just speak to one person about Star Wars and Lego, albeit the conversation is kind of one way, it's a bonus for me. So it's great. Later, going to play some Destiny to cheer myself up. Yeah, you go do that, mate. You go and cheer yourself up. Hopefully, you'll have better luck there than you did here. And thanks for being with us anyway, mate. Thanks for trying and sticking with it for so long. Most people would have. If that was me, I'd have probably launched everything across the room and given up within the first 20 minutes. So the fact that you kept trying and I'm sorry I couldn't do anything to help you out. Josh has hurt his foot. Yeah, sounds like, yeah, by the sound of it, he's broken it. But for whatever reason, this chat's not showing the picture. So I'll try it on my phone later and see what's going on there. So Slurpee, mate, obviously you've been with us since the very start, and again, thanks for sticking with us. Looking at the top of my head, looking at the side of my head, and trying to work things out technically, but appreciate you sticking with us. So no, it didn't mess me about too much, mate, at all, because I think if you'd been on here and everything had worked for you, then there would have been other issues that I would have been trying to deal with. So, you know, it's almost like I'm glad the technical issues were yours and not mine so much. But yeah, my biggest concern isn't so much that. My biggest concern is around about the fact that we haven't got an answer, and I don't think we're going to get one anytime soon, because I don't think we're going to be able to solve this unless we're in this situation. So it'd be easier for somebody to say in the comments what to do and us to hash it out and work it out while we're doing it than it would be to do it after the fact. And that's the issue I'm going to have. So, but we'll see. If I get a chance later or tomorrow, I'll probably do a little live stream and get my partner to join, and she'll have audio on and video off, probably just to test to see what it is that perhaps I was doing wrong. So if you see a little live stream go up from me, ignore it, because it'll just be me testing that, if anything. So look, thanks guys. Saying we got 4 viewers in here, but I know there's only 2 of you talking, so I don't know who the other 2 people are, but make yourselves known now, because I'm about to log off. But thanks for everybody riding with me. Hopefully if we do this again in the future, I'll have a little bit more experience in what I'm doing for a start. We'll have a guest on, and as hopefully a co-host as well. We'll have some structure, so some questions, and I think the way I'm going to operate this Q&A thing is that I'll come up with some questions that they won't know. They'll come up with some questions that I don't know, and then I'll have a group of questions that we ask every guest. So it'll be like, how much is a pint of milk type thing they used to see in Empire magazine. So it'll be those questions, see how they vary. We'll have those questions up on the screen, and obviously we can do like a post afterwards, and I can plan in advance and get some structure, and we can do it. I think probably at the moment I'm going to be looking at once a month because of my availability, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if that sounds like something that's interesting to you guys, let me know. If you're watching this and you're interested in being a guest, then and you're happy with this kind of low level of kind of profile and it being very kind of, you know, sat opposite each other on a settee chatting about Star Wars, that's the kind of vibe I'm going for, then let me know, and I can line you up as one of our guests or co-hosts, whatever you prefer. So but like, thanks for everything. Appreciate you riding with me. I will sign off now, and if you guys are watching this on replay, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit us all the guys who are in this chat up on either YouTube, Instagram, or both, and follow us there, because there'll be more information there. So anybody watching from the shadows, thanks for joining. Even though you haven't made yourself known, I appreciate you being here, and see you guys again very soon. This is now going to bug me, so I'm not going to rest now until I've sorted this out. Yeah, we'll sort it out. Well, maybe not like right here and now, but we will see you. We will sort it out. So thanks, Matt, and thanks, Slurpee, and thanks to the other 2 mysterious guests out there. Thanks for watching, and see you guys soon.